would you believe that objective guidance came from a class called Econ 101? I think for me in economics, we have a special relationship. And part of it goes back to being my first experience in the military. I went to a military service academy called the Air Force Academy. And I wasn't one of those kids that grew up in a family of military heritage. Didn't have parents and grandparents that were in the United States military. We were immigrants from Korea. My parents immigrated shortly after the Korean War. And my dad was a big fan of the United States military because of what he remembered when he was a refugee in South Korea, and just recognizing the amount of humanitarian support that was being provided by the American GI. And so he always had a fondness for the military in his heart. And then when it came time for me to finally graduate high school and consider going off to a college somewhere, at that season of my life, I was a gymnast and I didn't really care a ton about school and my future. The only thing I cared about at that season of my life was doing more gymnastics at the collegiate level. And so I had a gymnastics coach who sent off a video clip to the three service academies, West Point, Naval Academy, and the Air Force Academy. Thought I would be a good fit there. And all three schools had a Division I men's gymnastics team. And sure enough, the first one to reach out was the Air Force Academy. And it also happened to be that season of life when Top Gun had just concluded its first. Yeah, so just the allure of flying, being the next Maverick, going to this school called the Air Force Academy, it was all kind of there. And when I went to go visit it, it was pretty stunning. It was in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado Springs. And
must have been
so
beautiful.
I got accepted. It's beautiful. I got accepted, and a suburban Chicago kid. Next thing I knew, I'm at the Air Force Academy. And being brought into this military world, I thought, what have I done? What am I doing here? What have I got myself into? And most of the people that I was surrounded by, not only in the way of leaders, but also fellow students, the vast majority of them had wanted to be there since they were a young child, either because they always wanted to fly or because they had a relative that had time in the Air Force or in the military. And so as I'm going down this path of what have I gotten myself into, I'm surrounded by people that know exactly why they're there and why they're pursuing what they're pursuing. So I had a pretty significant crisis as an 18-year-old as to what do I want to do in life, and do I really want to be here? Because it's 4 years at the academy and then a minimum commitment of 5 years on active duty.